Okay, so with our maths course, what we're looking at is the feeling I want to create for you, the feeling I want you to get, right? Is I want you to look at maths and stop seeing it as something that you have to do, or that there are 30 calculations to do for homework, or that now you've got to spend 3 hours practicing this formula that Marina's told you about, or now you have to make posters for your walls so that you can memorize the formulas. That's not the vibe I'm going for. And I mean, that's fine. That is a vibe that a lot of people go for, and it is what I did at school. But I struggled with maths at school because it didn't make sense. Um, my grandfather was a chemist. He was really into maths. On a Sunday morning, he used to come up with the most bizarre mathematical formulas and try to solve them. And after church, he used to translate Latin text. And so that was the type of brain that my grandfather had. And so he got me obsessed with the Trachtenberg method and stuff like that. And so found speed mathematics. And I really enjoyed that. But it was only really when I figured out, I don't remember what it was, but I started deriving formulas and maths clicked for me. Because I realized that these formulas that people come up with are not just random rules that people made. Because I'm not one who likes to follow rules. I'm not a fan of rules. So I don't like to just follow a rule because it exists. And so a lot of my life felt like or a lot of my teenage years, it felt like maths was just a bunch of rules that I needed to follow. And so I wanted to be a rebel. And so I remember in grade 2, we were doing long division, and our teacher said, don't do more than 4 numbers. So as a move of rebellion, I did this long thing that took up a whole page. It took me 4 pages to work out this one long division sum, and my teacher could not punish me because I will do what I want with math. Okay, so that's the vibe that I really want. That's the experience I want for my students. I want you to be a rebel. I want you to enjoy learning. And so we need to look at math differently. We need to see it in a new way. Because how we currently see it is as a school subject, as something that we have to do so that we can get a university exemption. We do it so that we can achieve the next goal. And then we get to the next goal, and then we're working towards the next goal, and we never actually enjoy the process of learning. And so my goal is to have maths be something that you can enjoy learning. Because otherwise you're just wasting your time. Like, are you really going to spend 2 years of your life doing something that is totally pointless, just that doesn't grow you, that doesn't develop you, but that is just there so that you can get a little checkbox? Like, who cares? We don't know what's going to happen with education in the next 10, 20 years. When I was a teenager, you couldn't get a job if you didn't have a university qualification. Now it doesn't matter whether you have a university qualification; you're not getting a job anyway. So, and so the thing is, let's remove the end goal and let's go for learning. Let the goal be learning. Let the goal be the experience. And so the way that I'll be doing this is using classical model. The classical model, you have the Trivium and the Quadrivium. Okay, so the Trivium is made up of your grammar, which is your building blocks, your building blocks of understanding. This is like if we have a Lego set, our grammar is just putting the blocks, being able to clip one block into the next, understanding how one block links to the next, and it's understanding the block. Okay. Then we've got our logic, and that's really where we are building putting the blocks together and building something with the block. Okay. We are practicing. It's our practicing where we're saying, okay, if I do this, then that will happen. If I multiply, if I do my things in this order, I'll get this answer. If I do my things in this order, this will happen, and I'll get this answer. So the other day I was having a conversation with my son, more of an argument, really. My son is 6, and he loves math. Like, he's obsessed. Okay, all he ever does is just talks about maths. And, okay, he talks about a lot of things. He's such a talkative kid. Anyway, so we were having a conversation, and he's like, he wanted for his time with me, because I spend time with him, like specific quality time with him every day, and I'm like, this is your time. And so for his time with me, he wanted to do math sums. They wanted me to write math sums on the board for him, and he wanted to write math sums on the board for me. Okay, so he's like, okay, but I don't want it to go down. I don't feel like the ones that make things go down. I'm like, great, we won't do that. So he writes one for me, and it's like 1 + 2 × 3 + 5, something like that. And I do it, and he's like, no, Dad, you got it wrong. Kids call me Dad. So he's like, no, Dad, you got it wrong. I'm like, right, I did not get it wrong. He says, no, this is how you do it, and he does it. And I'm like, no, that's wrong. Because remember, there are rules that we have to follow, because just like in everything, son loves rules. He's autistic. It's a thing. So there are rules that we have to follow. Anyway, so he's following these rules, and he's going through this. He's following his rule that he made up of things have to be from left to right. And he said it's like reading. It must go from left to right. And I'm like, no, it is its own language. And there are languages that go from right to left. There are languages that go from top to bottom. Maths goes in the order of BODMAS or PEDMAS, however you want to do it, where you have to do brackets, order. Order is like your little indices. Divide, multiply, add, subtract. And I'm like, you have to do it in this order. And he's like, no, Dad, you're wrong. I said, go fetch the calculator. He goes and fetches the calculator. He says, Dad, this calculator's broken. So eventually, there's one way to get through to my son. I said, Mathan, you're going to look like you don't know how to do maths if you go and show someone that this is how you do maths. So let's rather explore why the rule is there. I didn't expect you to just believe the rule. Let's explore why the rule is there. And so this is our rhetoric, actually. We've gone from our grammar to our logic to our rhetoric, because I didn't just get him to, I didn't just say, here's the rule, this is the rule. I said, okay, explain to me why that is the rule. Defend your belief in that rule. And that's what rhetoric is.